Hello students, a very good morning to all of you. Today we are going to discuss very important terminologies used in botany. Let me share my whiteboard screen with you. Today you're going to learn in botany terms which are frequently used and which are very important from the point of view of exams. So the first term I'm teaching you today is abscission. Now, what is abscission? It is nothing but separation of leaves, branches, flowers, and bark from plants by the formation of abscission layer. Let me write for you and define the separation of leaves, branches, flowers, bark from plants by the formation of an abscission layer. This is abscission. The second one, Andrussium. Now, what is the simple definition of Andrussium? The stamens of a flowering plant together is called as Andrussium. The stamens of a flowering plant together are collectively. The third one, Androgynous. Androgynous is having male and female flowers in the same inflorescence. They are nothing but having male and female flowers in the same inflorescence. Example, cocoa pint. Let us go with the next biological term, that is botanical term. Fourth one, we'll discuss briefly about anther. Anther is a terminal part of a stamen consisting usually of two lobes, each containing two sacs in which the pollen matures. It is the terminal part of a stamen consisting usually of two lobes, each containing two sacs in which the pollen matures. This is anther. Next, we'll see Archaegonia. It is a female sex organ occurring in mosses, spore-bearing vascular plants, and gymnosperms that produces a single egg cell in its swollen base. Now, what is Archaegonium? It is a female sex organ where it is present occurring in mosses, spore-bearing vascular plants, and gymnosperms that produces a that produces A single egg cell in its own swollen base. In its own swollen base. This is Archaegonia. The next one, axil. What is axil? It is the angle between the upper surface of a branch or a leaf stalk and the stem from which it grows. The angle, I repeat, it is the angle between the upper surface of a branch or leaf stalk and the stem from which it grows. The next one, auxins. This is nothing but hormone of plant. Any of various plant hormones such as indole acid that promotes growth and control fruit and flower development is they are nothing but auxins. Synthetic auxins are also widely used in agriculture and horticulture. Now, what is this? It is a plant hormone. Example, indole acetic acid. What does it do? It promotes growth and control fruit and flower development. Synthetic auxins are also used in agriculture and horticulture. The next one is axis. What is axis? It is the main central part of plant, typically consisting of stem and root from which secondary branches and the other parts develop. I repeat, what is this axis? It is the main central part of the plant, typically consisting of stem and root. Consisting of stem and root from which the development of secondary branches happen. That is from which secondary branches and other parts develop. This is nothing but axis. Now next, what is berry? Once we hear the word berry, only comes into our mind is fruit, that is strawberry, right? Yeah, it is any of the various small edible fruits such as blackberry and strawberry. It is an edible fruit such as strawberry and blackberry. Yeah. Next, we'll see what is bulb. Bulb is a round organ of a vegetative reproduction in plants such as tulip and onion. A flattened stem bearing a central shoot surrounded by a fleshy, nutritive inner leaves and thin brown outer leaves. I repeat, it is a round organ of vegetative reproduction. Vegetative reproduction in plants such as tulip and onion. What is that? It is actually a flattened stem which is having a central shoot surrounded by fleshy nutritive. If it is fleshy, definitely it will be nutritive. Fleshy nutritive inner leaves and thin brown outer leaves. I repeat, bulb is nothing but a round organ of vegetative reproduction especially in tulip and onions. It is a flattened stem bearing a central root surrounded by fleshy nutritive inner leaves and thin brown outer leaves. This is nothing but bulb. Next, we'll see calyx. Calyx are nothing but sepals of a flower collectively, forming outer flower envelope that protects the developing flower bud. What is that? I repeat, calyx are the sepals of a flower collectively called, forming the outer floral envelope that protects the developing flower bud. This is calyx. Next botanical term, cambium. It is a meristem that increases the girth of stems and roots by producing additional xylem and phloem. It is nothing but a meristem that increases the girth of stems and roots by producing additional xylem and phloem. This is nothing but cambium, students. Xylem and phloem. Now next, carpel. What is carpel? The female reproductive organ of flowering plants consisting of ovary, style, which is sometimes absent, and stigma. The carpels are separate or fused to form a single pistil. What is the carpel? It is a female reproductive organ of a flowering plant. What does it consist? It consists of an ovary, style. Sometimes this style is absent, sometimes it is absent. Ovary, style, and stigma. The carpels are separate here, students, or they are as well as fused to form a single pistil. This is nothing but carpels. I repeat, carpels are nothing but female reproductive organ of a flowering plant. It consists of ovary, style. The style is sometimes absent and stigma is present. The carpels are separate or they are fused to form a single pistil. Now, very important definition comes here. The next one is chlorophyll. The green pigment of plants and photosynthetic algae and bacteria, which traps the energy of sunlight for photosynthesis and exists in several forms, the abundant being chlorophyll A, used as coloring agent in medicines as well as food. What is this? This is a green pigment. It is a green pigment of what? Of plants and photosynthetic algae and bacteria. What does it do? It traps the energy of sunlight. It traps the sunlight for photosynthesis. For photosynthesis. They exist in several forms. The most abundant is chlorophyll A. Next, chloroplast. After knowing chlorophyll, what is chloroplast? It is a plasmid containing chlorophyll and other pigments occurring in plants and algae which carry out the photosynthesis. It is a Plasmid, plastid. It is a plastid containing chlorophyll and other pigments occurring in plants, algae, bacteria, which carry out photosynthesis. I repeat again, students. Chloroplast is a plastid containing chlorophyll and other pigments occurring in plants and algae, even bacteria, which carry out photosynthesis. This is chloroplast. Next botanical term, corm. Now, what is corm? CORM. It is the organ of vegetative reproduction in plants such as crocus, consisting of globular stem, base is swollen with food, surrounded by papery scale leaves. What is this? It is the organ of vegetative reproduction. Vegetative reproduction in plants. Example, crocus. Crocus, what is this, how it is representing? It is consisting of globular stem, base is swollen with food. Base is swollen with food and surrounded by papery scaly leaves. This is nothing but corm. Let us see the next one. Corolla. What is corolla? The petals of a flower collectively forming inner floral envelope. It is nothing but the petals of a flower together formed collectively, forming an inner floral envelope. This is corolla. Next definition. We have a small botanical term in plants, corona. This corona is nothing but trumpet-shaped part of corolla of daffodils and similar plants. It is the trumpet-shaped part of corolla of daffodils. Daffodils and many similar plants. It is nothing but crown. That's why we say corona. The next definition. Cortex. The unspecialized tissue in plants, stems and roots between the vascular bundles and epidermis. It is an unspecialized tissue in plants, stems, roots between the vascular bundles and epidermis. Now let me write this. It is a unspecialized tissue in plant stems and roots between the vascular bundles and the epidermis. This is cortex. The next one, Cotyledon. Now, what is this Cotyledon? It is a simple embryonic leaf in seed-bearing plants, which in some species forms first green leaf after germination. It is a simple embryonic leaf in plant leaf in seed bearing plants. In some species forms the first green leaf after germination. I repeat, cotyledons are nothing but simple embryonic leaf in seed-bearing plants, which in some species forms first green leaf after germination. The next definition is very simple. You all know cross pollination. Now, what is this cross pollination? Transfer of pollen from anthers of one flower to the stigma of another flower by action of insects and winds. It is nothing but cross pollination. The transfer of pollen from the anthers of one flower to the stigma of another flower by the action of wind, insects, etc. This is cross pollination. Next is cuticle. Now, what are cuticles? They are the protective layer containing cutin, which covers the epidermis of higher plants. They are the protective layer. What are there? They are the protective layer, students. Please remember, which contains cutin. What does it do? That covers the epidermis of higher plants. This is cuticle. The next one, dicotyledon. By the name it suggests it's a near flowering plant of the class Dicotyledonae, normally having two embryonic seed leaves and leaves with net-like veins. The group includes many herbaceous plants and many families of trees and shrubs. Any flowering plant of the class, what is the class? Dicotyledonae, normally having two embryonic seed leaves and it also has leaves with net-like veins. Leaves with net-like veins. This group includes many herbaceous plants and most families of trees and shrubs. The next one we'll see epidermis. Now, what is this? This is very important. It is the outer protective layer of cells of a plant which may be thickened by a cuticle. It is the outer protective layer of cells of a plant which may be thickened by a cuticle. These are the few botanical terms today which I've discussed with you, students. In my next class, we'll see again remaining botanical terms in my next two videos. Please sit with concentration and listen to these definitions, because if you understand the botanical terms properly, then only you will understand the concept in the chapters of botany. Thank you for watching. Stay home, stay safe, and stay hygienic. Thank you.